Fail Females! So welcome back to another episode of Fail Female Friday. In today's case, we're going to be discussing the case of Judy Kirby, also known as the Wrong Way Killer. This case actually takes place back in 2000. If you are from around the Indiana area, whether you currently live there or know someone, they might remember if they were alive during this time, or well, at least if they were somewhat old enough. And so yeah, let's just go ahead and get started.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So of course, like always, we always start with our killer, Judy Kirby. And so Judy Kirby was born on November 14th, 1968. She would get married to a Victor Kirby. And so Kirby was like the last name for her husband, but I couldn't exactly find when they got married. So Judy actually had custody of 11 kids.
Damn!
Apparently, like 8 or 9 of them were biological, and she adopted 2 of them. Regarding the actual children themselves, I couldn't find any of their other names, but I can give you the names of the children involved in this case. Jordan Thomas Kirby was born on October 20th, 1987. Joni Darlene Kirby was born on November 16th, 1990. And so Jacob Kirby would actually be born on August 25th, 1994. Judy actually adopted her nephew from her sister, Linda Walker. I don't know exactly what happened to Linda. I don't know if she died or went to prison. So if anyone knows that, please let me know. To enlighten all of us, of course. Judy and Victor would end up filing for divorce during some time, and they would end up fighting for custody for their 5 kids. Because so apparently they had 5 kids together, and then she had 5 from another relationship, and then the 2 that she adopted. 5 months before the fatal accident, Judy had apparently given birth. She apparently was staying in the hospital a month before, but had checked out before her 3 days were up. She also had a thyroid problem that was undiagnosed, and apparently that altered her version of reality. And so the timeline of March 25th, 2000 is what is put together by family and witnesses from that day. At about 11:30, she would leave the house with her nephew, Jeremy Young, who was celebrating his 10th birthday, because remember I said he was born March 25th. She would go pick up her biological sons at her sister's house. So not Sarah, but like another sister. At noon, she would actually finally arrive to her sister's house to pick up her sons, and she didn't leave there till about 2 o'clock. Her sister had actually followed behind her to go to Toys R Us to buy toys for Jeremy, because remember, it was his birthday that day. And at about 2:30, Jeanette, the sister, would say that she actually lost Judy, so she turned around, and apparently the place where she last saw Judy wasn't there. And so at about 3 o'clock, a man was outside and saw that Judy was basically staring at him for a couple minutes before she left. So that's obviously concerning. Between 3:30 and 4, she had stopped her car, she turned off her car in traffic, and 2 women actually asked if she need help. She would borrow a cell phone from one of them. She had borrowed it for 2 minutes, and I think she left. And so at 4 o'clock, she showed up around a mobile home that was throwing a baby shower. Apparently she had asked for help. They asked what kind of help does she need. She said she needs a birthday party. And so obviously this is a baby shower. So they thought she was looking for a birthday party. So they gave her directions to the other side of the townhouse, thinking maybe there was an event going on over there. As she drove the 21 miles to Martinsville, there were no sightings of her until 4:45. She arrived to a gas station and paid $3 in gas and apparently about $6 in about candy bars. The gas attendant there said that she was in the car for a few minutes, and once she got out to get the gas, she apparently couldn't get it to work, so he went out there to help her. At 4:55, police started getting calls about a car going the wrong way on the highway, going between 55 and 100 miles per hour. 9 cars had luckily missed her, but they still wrecked anyway. So for 2 miles, there's a bunch of wrecks, but they all survived luckily. And broken bones, but they still survived. 57, she would crash into a minivan carrying Thomas Real, his son Bradley, his daughter Jessica, and a family friend Michael Miller. Thomas was born on December 11th, 1959. Bradley was born on December 14th, 1986, and his sister Jessica was born on May 13th, 1985. Sadly, in Judy's car, all the kids died. So Jacob, Joni, Jordan, and Jeremy, they're all dead. And then Thomas, Jessica, Bradley, they're all dead too. Michael would survive, but apparently he had like injuries to his back and apparently one of his legs. But he would like eventually he would end up surviving, and so did Judy. A little bit about Thomas. Thomas had actually founded the Seedline Christian Ministries, and like the four of them, so Thomas, Bradley, Jessica, Michael, they all were returning back from a youth event when the crash happened. They all would be survived by his wife, Louise, and the 11-year-old daughter they had at the time. Apparently, Louise had gotten remarried at some time, but I couldn't really find information about Louise. Bradley was attending Tabernacle Christian School, where he was a member of the basketball team and the choir team in the 8th grade. Jessica was a freshman at the same school, but she was a cheerleader. If you look at the pictures, it's obviously, you can obviously imagine it was a gruesome scene. It would be hard to believe that anybody survived. And so, but somehow miraculously Judy and Richard actually survived. And the emergency workers that were there on that day at the scene said they would actually have nightmares for years to come after that, which, if you've seen the pictures, I honestly couldn't blame them. So after the wreckage, her husband, I guess former husband, Victor, would come out and say that she told one of her older sons, one of the ones that didn't die, that she wanted to take her own life, but he didn't find this out until after the crash had already happened. The prosecution said that she tried taking her own life because of a failed relationship that she had with her husband's brother. And so others would even say that she apparently was afraid of getting arrested over drug trafficking charges, and apparently she'd actually been watched for some time, about like 7 months or something like that. Prosecutors, because they really wanted this woman in jail, they brought in an expert to prove that despite having a thyroid problem, that wouldn't like be the reason why you had the crash. And then the defense attorney would say that she was misdiagnosed and misunderstood, and that she would never intentionally kill her children. Apparently, the final nail in the coffin, the prosecutors actually decided to like stay silent for 87 seconds to show how long it was and how long Judy was on the wrong side of the highway, to show that Judy actually had time to pull over before she decided to get into the wreck. Another thing to mention, apparently she had passed like 6 wrong way signs, and apparently 10 do not enter signs. So that's interesting to know. The jury was actually taken to the scene of the crash, so that way the jury could see for themselves that there are 4 turnoffs that you could go on before she got to the point where she crashed. So that shows that it seemed deliberate. On May 10, 2001, she would actually be charged with 7 counts of murder, 4 counts of neglect on an dependent with injury, and 1 count of battery. And so this is after like 12 days and 114 witnesses. Judy would be sentenced to 215 years on June 13th. She would try to apply for appeal, but it was upheld in like August of 2002, so basically it was denied.
Rejected! Yeah, you just got rejected! R-E-J-E-C-T-E-D, rejected! R-E-J-E-C-T-E-D, rejected!
All right!
January 2003, the Indiana Supreme Court would deny her appeal.
Rejected! Yeah, you just got rejected! R-E-J-E-C-T-E-D, rejected! R-E-J-E-C-T-E-D, rejected!
All right!
And she would actually ask for another trial in 2014, saying that her using drugs shouldn't have been a reason for, like, that shouldn't have been valid evidence to be used against her. And so she would also say that the court did not provide a proper jury, and so Judge Jane Craney would actually reject those requests. And so she would actually take her claim to the U.S. Supreme Court, but of course they didn't want to hear from it either. And so to this day, there are still like 7 crosses in memory of the victims. And so a lot of people in Martinsville were there when it happened. So of course, if you ask pretty much anyone who's old enough, they will remember, like, they will remember it. And apparently just even you saying her last name, you know, like, it's that bad. It affected the town that much, where you saying the last name Kirby in that town, they would, like, just you saying the last name Kirby, they would know who you're talking about. So yeah, that was a very tragic case of Judy Kirby. Hope you guys learned something new, and so I will see you fail from this the next one. Bye.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Still
never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm.